guests with solid minds, no tales of the strange. In Sasquatch Secrets, they'll begin to rearrange. Truth's the vibe, we're on a quest. Look beyond the trees, what do you see? Factual stories redefining history. No myths, no magic, let's break the mold. With every word spoken, the one news unfold. Footprints in the snow, not just a myth. Data and research will sift through the pit. Tales of a creature, but science leads the way. Nikki's quest for knowledge, come join and stand.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sasquatch Secrets. I'm your host, Nikki Colon. So good to see you guys on this Sunday. How's everybody doing out there? So today it's a little bit different. We're going off script, off trail, because sometimes you just have to ask, can we talk? And can we really sit down and sort through all the noise out there in the Bigfoot world? So this is open mic. If you'd like to join, I'm going to drop the link in the chat there. Your chance to sound off, share what you've caught, what's caught your eye, or maybe even popped up in one of your unusual or, online Facebook groups, what you're seeing. And we can talk about it and get down to it. I also have my big book of Bigfoot shame over here that we might go through and talk about some of those older hoaxes and hoodwinks and how I started my books. I have a lot of books, so I'll let you look at those, and that's what we're going to do today. And it's just going to be an open chat, and I'm going to I put out the link for the guys to come if they want to join. That's fine, and I'm going to drop this one over here in the chat. There you go. If anybody wants to join. And I know who you are, okay? It's kind of weird. I don't want somebody... We've had incidents where, weird things happen. So we're not going to do that at all. But first off, let's get over to the chat and see who's here. We have Sharon, of course, is always the first in the house. How are you doing, Sharon, from over the pond? How's Belgium? How's Belgium treating you? How's your daughter? How are things going? Hope everything's well over there. Danny Staten, greetings from South Carolina. You have so many channels, dude. I can't even keep up with them. Seriously. Blazer, good to see you again. Yes, hit that like button, please. While you're here, hit it. And we've got Jen. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Jen. We need to talk. It's been a long time since we've had a chat, so we need to do that. Squatching Cowboy. There's Joe. How you doing? Good to see you. Finding the Trackway. Talk about what? Talk about whatever you want to talk about. We can talk about research, things going on in the community. I don't even know. I kind of been not paying a whole lot of attention to any kind of dramas and stuff. There's been a few things out there, but I just haven't. I don't know. You kind of get into a lull every now and then about, some of this stuff. And I am interested. I want to go out, camping for sure. But we have fire. I have fires again in my area, a little bit north of Cloudcroft. There's a big fire going on, and Then it rained, and then the mudslides are happening. It's just a mess up there, and I wish it would just calm down so I can go camping. But so Trackway, if you want to jump in, let me know. You're welcome to come join me and just chit chat. And Angel Nolan, good to see you. Sandra Piper, I hope you're doing well. I know you've had some setbacks, and you're always in our thoughts and prayers. You are always in everybody's chats, and we do appreciate that for sure. Grasshopper, what's up there? Did I wake you up? My intro always wakes you up. So why are you always sleeping? Always. Midwest Night Watchers. Almost messed that one up. Hey, good to see you. Welcome. Lazy Cowboy, there's Ed. Hey, what's up, Ed? Good to see you. You're staying up too? Or are you like dozing off, getting ready to doze off? He's over there and across the pond. Who else do we have that's here? You guys are chit-chatting away. Take me a while to get to the end. That might be it. Oh, there's Robert Deduin just showed up. How you doing, Robert? Good to see you. And that might be it. Oh, there he is. There's Jonathan peeking his head in. Are you on the road, Jonathan, or are you at home? But it's good to see you. There's Mrs. Trackway. Always a pleasure. Bat Bomb, there you are. There's my girl. How you doing, Tessa? So good to see you. Verax. Hello. Nice to meet you. Happy Sunday to you too. Welcome to the chat. Somebody said hi, Glenn. Does that mean Bigfoot Dwarf is in the house? It does indeed. Good to see you. Which actually, that reminds me of the first thing I want to talk about. Let me see. Let me scroll all the way to the end. Valor View News. That's Donald. Donald's in the house. So, okay, I think I reached the end now. So I had to make a decision, and it was a sad one, but I will not be attending the Bluff Creek gathering in a couple of weeks. It was going to be starting around July the 9th or so. And this whole time I thought I could make it work out, get the time off of work, have enough money to do this. And in my last two big trips, the one to Canada and the one to Mount St. Helens, I had money, saved up for that and was putting little aside here and there. And that really helped, right? And I wasn't driving. So there was some more expense for me to go to this trip. And it wasn't going to happen because I had taken 2 weeks off when my husband came, and they're not going to allow me to take another 2 weeks, which is what I would need because the drive is 3 days. For me, it would be a 3-day drive over, 3-day drive back. And so that's, practically a week in driving and then a week to stay and camp, or 5 days, around 5 days, and a day to pack and a day to unpack. I had it all worked out. I did. But I just can't. There was too many things on the no-go side. And it should be the other way around, right? Yes, I can do this. I can do this. I'll have enough money for gas. My truck takes about $75, every time I gas up. But that's here in Texas where it's $2.60 a gallon. I can't imagine what it costs in California right now, but I suspect it's a little bit higher. So, there were things like that I started running through and doing the math on how many times I was going to have to gas up. And and stuff like that. And it just wasn't computing for this trip. There's Tate. And Tate and Bren, of course, were trying to come up with solutions, and we'll fly over here and somebody will pick you up and we'll have gear for you, and that's all great. That sounds nice, but it's still, I don't know. I think I have to go with my gut feeling on this one and hope that maybe there's another gathering next year and I can be more prepared. But we all know, things happen. You run into money issues, and that happens, and it's okay. I'm going to survive. I'm going to live through this. It'll work out. And Brent he's going to do a great job at documenting everything that's going to be happening over there and getting to go to Bluff Creek. Bluff Creek isn't going anywhere. I'll be able to visit it again, or visit it for the first time, in the future, hopefully. And we'll just have to look forward to anything. Now, they do have the cell site Tate was telling us about, where you get like a bar or two there. Who knows? Maybe he can do some live stuff out of there. I don't know if the signal's strong enough to do lives, but I know he'll try. He tries every time he goes up into his mountains, and he'll give it a whirl. So that'll be nice to see. We'll see what happens with that. But nothing but the best. I know I was looking forward to meeting Jonathan Easley and Glenn, and a bunch of other people who are going to be making it up there this year. But it's a lot easier if you live right on the West Coast to get there, because it's pretty long drive from here. Jen says it's $3.19 a gallon there. I have to use the premium too. So I'm not using the regular, and that's what I paid $2.60 to fill up the truck at the premium. So it's crazy. And there's kind of a lot of unrest going on in California. I don't know if you guys have seen the news about any of that stuff, but I just don't think I'm that comfortable getting up there by myself. In the past, heck yeah, I would get up and go. When I first met my husband and he asked me to go to California, I packed up all my stuff into a moving truck. I trailered my rodeo on the back of that, and me and my cat drove all the way to LA, and I never went back to Arizona. I stayed with him the entire time after that. So I'm not afraid of picking up and driving or going anywhere, but I am not a young kid no more. So $4.50 a gallon for unleaded, and that's Batmom, that's oh my god, Reno. Reno, right? Let me know, what's your gas prices? I want to know what they are on the East Coast. I'm kind of curious about that. What about you, Dwarf? What's gas going like over there in Cali? Batmom says she's 20 minutes from California. Yeah, I had a whole plan. On the way back home, I wanted to stop and see, Tessa, and maybe spend the night there with her. Oh, I'm sorry, Tessa, but it's not going to happen. Upstate New York, $3.49. Sharon in Belgium, $5.91. And you put dollars on there, so I'm assuming you did the conversion. So, but there will be more times to be had. I might go up to the New Mexico we're going to be going over it, but there's going to be an event up in New Mexico, an event in Virginia that I've been asked to possibly speak at. So I'm still kind of working that out. $2.79 a gallon in Ohio. That's good. Trackway. That is good. $2.89 in Vermont, Donald. I want to say Vermont, right? Am I wrong? Trying to remember where everybody's at. 488 premium gas is 488. Glenn says in California. Columbus, Ohio, 315, 319 for regular. Yep. So, I mean, it's all better than what it has been. You know, I can remember when it was up in the sixes, right? Even here. And that was rough, man. That was me. I would put a little bit of gas in every time I had money, you know, not let the gas tank go under half a tank, which I kind of still don't do that. I will still gas up because it's better to have, you know, have you ready to go. And if anybody's like in the Southwest, you have to have a full gas tank whenever you travel, because out here it's not like the East Coast or the West Coast where you've got a gas station at every stop. In the Southwest, you could go 300 miles without seeing a gas station. So you have to. I mean, that's kind of extension now. You know, it's kind of changed now. But I can remember, you know, yeah, you have to gas up out here. You have to have you have to have your whole gear, your water, extra water, anything for overheating when you're in the Southwest. Yeah, Vermont. Donald is Christopher Noel's neighbor. Fun. For sure. So that was my number one thing I wanted to talk about today to everybody, was that I know everybody's kind of likes to live through my adventures when I take these big trips, and there'll be something coming up. I'll work something out. That's not going to cost me like $2,000 to go. Seriously, it was going to cost me like $800 in gas alone, and that's kind of a lot. That's excessive right now for me. So, we won't be doing that. Squatch Talk on the Drummond Bigfoot in his early video. Ouch. I'm going soon. My kids are meanies. I'm inviting myself to Nikki's. She cooks and I'm always hungry. I will cook, girlfriend. You get some time off and we'll see what we can do about getting you over. Getting you over here. 1 second. Somebody is texting me. What other thing was I going to? Okay. 420 here in Cali, smoking gas. 420. That's still not that bad, I guess. You know, I mean, it's double what I'm paying here, but not as bad. So it's all good, right? So we're going to open the chat up to any questions you have or anything you want to talk about that has happened in the Bigfoot community. And I dug up a few new sightings. I don't know if we've already talked about these sightings. I don't think I have on my channel, but Steve might have talked about some of these, but it's just a couple of sightings that have happening, and I don't know if anybody known about these sightings, but I guess in May 18th, in Monroe County, Michigan, it looks like a 47-year-old father and his 12-year-old son were bow fishing near Plum Creek when their dog startled something in the marsh. Witnesses reported hearing a large thud, saw a hair-covered creature the size of a bear resembling a gorilla fleeing upright on two legs. Now, this story has been reported on numerous sites, New York Post, our Midland.com, and WHMI.com. Has all done stories on this. Has anybody heard about this in Michigan? Did you star my early question? Oh, I'm sorry, Donald. No, I didn't see your question. Let me go back real fast and see what your question is. Was it way back? Oh, any thought? Okay, I got it. I found it. Any thoughts on the AI Bigfoot videos recently put on YouTube? I think they're a hoot. Yes, actually, I did want to talk about those too. Anybody on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube Shorts, I am sure your feeds have been inundated with new Bigfoot shorts, of a Bigfoot talking. He talks and they're talking about all kinds of different things, but they're hilarious. A lot of people are doing them now, and I think they're hilarious. But what do you guys think? Um, okay, another message coming through. Okay. And let's see what people are saying. Bigfoot bus forest rangers pot grow AI. I think it's the only thing I like about the AI. At least it's being used humorously, and that's good. I think that's great. So, oh shoot, Blake's response. Okay, I went out there a couple of days after the encounter and found, oh, this is directly related to this Michigan sighting. I went out there a couple of days after the encounter and found footprint tracks also went live on location. Wow. I'm going to write me a note on here to check that out. You have an investigation on that or went out and checked it out. Nice footprints. Where does it say Monroe County? Where is that exactly, Blake? North, south, Michigan? I didn't know. 100% no way Bigfoot there. No Bigfoot in Michigan? Why would there not be Bigfoot in Michigan? Let's see. All right. Let's see what else we got. Sorry, I don't know. Alrighty. I don't want to skip anybody else's questions. So make sure you put your questions in caps so I can see it easier. Are getting old. You think they're getting old already, Pat? I don't. I mean, they're coming out. They're coming out with new stuff to talk about, fishing, and they're talking about, acting like they're the human, looking, they're looking for the human, and that's hilarious. I think those are hilarious. I don't know what you're talking about here. I went up 1%. Did you get a chuckle out of them? Oh, his phone battery. Okay. What? Ben expressed his disdain for them on another show the other night. I felt he needed to have some lighthearted fun with the subject. Ben, who's Ben? Wait, no, that's Barnaby I'm thinking of. Who's Ben? Michigan, Minnesota are two creepiest places I've camped. I have heard that before. I have. Bigfoot having a smoke, yeah. And a beer. I seen one with beer. I seen one where they're hunting. I seen one where they were exercising or something. It's hilarious. You gotta have a sense of humor too sometimes, especially when we're looking at it on our end as the skeptics or the science, side of things. You still should have a sense of humor and have fun with it. I mean, he goes nuts over sins. Yeah. Ben from the Bayou. I don't know who that. Oops, it hit it again. I don't know who that is. But yeah, gotta have a little bit of sense of humor. Trackway says, I had hypothermia from sleeping on the ground in Michigan in July. Wow. Okay. Driving and listening. Brian and Chewy. How you doing, Brian? Good to see you. Will you stay focused on driving? And we'll just keep on chatting. So there's that one. And now we've got somebody who's actually checked it out. So that's nice. Donald says he's usually on Mogs. I don't watch that channel anymore. So I wouldn't know. Let's see. Let's go on to the next one. The next one says, there was more to that. It says that encounter lasted under 10 seconds. And BFRO investigator Matthew Moneymaker deemed both witnesses credible and consistent. So there was more to that. I didn't finish. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, Sandwich, is to go check out that video that Blake has about that. And you said you went live, Blake, so look under his lives. March of 2025, I have two showing, one from Boulder County, Colorado. In late March, a resident spotted a Bigfoot-like figure around 10 p.m. on Desolate Road, approximately 11 miles north of Boulder. This was classified as a BFRO Class A sightings. So, Colorado. I have anybody here from Colorado? Let's see. I do have somebody who popped into the back, you guys. I'm gonna let him in if I can find his intro.
Hey,
Hey, Pat, how's it going?
what's up, Nikki?
Yeah, what are you up to?
I'm just sitting here watching your show. Your
Yeah.
fantastic show. Got a lot of people in here.
Yeah.
Like it. Good.
Yeah, it's good. I had to have a show. I felt like hadn't produced like one of my big shows, in a while, but these little ones that I keep doing are doing okay. They're doing okay. People like the different content, I think. So,
Yeah.
it works.
Hell yeah.
It works. Oh, there's Eric. Any reports where law enforcement was contacted? I only have the brief descriptions. You'd have to go to probably BFRO site. It looks like these last two or the next three are all on the BFRO. So you would have to get on there and see. And those are kind of like a pot shot. You never know what information is going to be valid or not valid, and you just gotta kind of.
I can call law enforcement right now and tell them I saw a Bigfoot. I mean, that is what it is. We could do that. We could do that live on the show. Oh, cool. Like, I'll just act a little kooky, and they'll just kind of blow it off. I won't get in any trouble.
Yeah.
But that would be pretty funny, actually. Yeah.
What are you saying? There's also a fake AI video going around with the label that the two witnesses from Monroe captured it on film, which is total lies. The two witnesses never filmed the Bigfoot. Let me guess who put that AI video out. Was it Boise Bigfoot? They're getting notorious already. They're put out a lot of stuff that doesn't jive.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a lot of things. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, because the AI thing, like you were just talking about, like, so everybody is using VO3, which came out a couple weeks ago ish, and it's too good. Like, it's it's mind-blowingly good. So it looks too real.
Very clear. It's very I don't know. It does. It looks good. It's kind of scary.
Right. It looks really good, but it notice kind of makes Bigfoot look gorilla-ish. It doesn't know what to do with a Bigfoot because it doesn't know what a Bigfoot looks like because humanity doesn't know what a Bigfoot looks like.
Right.
Which that's a big statement. Hello. Because we don't know what they look like fully, like a
right
person. Then like the AI is making them look, kind of giving them gorilla face.
Yeah,
and
I've noticed that even on my image creator when I'm doing my thumbnails, it's hard to get them to get a face that looks more human. It just automatically puts in that big lip, and the brow. The whole thing is very gorilla looking. You can't help it.
Right. So chat is saying that it's a crime. If I called law enforcement saying I saw a Bigfoot, it's a crime. No, it's not. Because how or why would they ever bother going to court to prove I didn't see a Bigfoot? So it's one of those things where if I act a little kooky and I say I think I saw a Bigfoot, they could never prove otherwise. Therefore, it's not a convictable crime at all. The judge would just
they'd have to prove he's doing a false report. But
correct.
And
how
we're
are
talking
they
about
going
it
to do
right
that
now, so yes, that would be the case. But
This could be used as evidence. I do agree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we
So,
outed ourselves if we did that, but in general,
so
the whole
right.
concept is that anybody can go and say, "Oh, there's a dog man outside my
Right.
window right now," you know, and
it's also a crime to speed every day, and to speed on the roads, and I do it every day. So, like, whatever. There's a time and a place to get caught.
yes, Dorf heard that. Some ate like, some more human, some more who act more human, and some who act more animalish, you know.
Yeah, but that again, that's just all anecdote. That's not
Yeah, it's pretty much
you
what
know,
people
you
you
know,
don't have any proof either
yeah,
way of that.
that none of
It
that
works for
matters. It's
use limited to 8 seconds.
yes, those
8 seconds on
8-second clips, correct.
oh.
Yeah, that's why. So if you look at the videos, like the funny ones, which they're getting old. Like Bigfoot's doing stupid shit. Like Bigfoot's in Israel, Bigfoot's in LA at the riots, Bigfoot's, flying drug shipments for the cartel. Like it's getting a little out of hand, but whatever.
Yeah.
But if you look at those videos, they are 8-second clips strung together into one storyline. That's why it constantly scene changes. But yeah, you can only make it an 8-second clip. That's it.
5 raccoons in my kitchen this morning.
I did one with PD. Like I made a pretty damn good one. Because I am using VO3 for the next couple of weeks.
Is it easy to use? I have not
Yeah,
experimented.
it's all about the prompts.
Yeah.
So you just have to learn how to become a prompt master. Or I mean, really, like I use Chat GPT. So I use Chat GPT to come up with a really good prompt for Pete because VO3 won't take an image. At
Oh.
least in the tier I'm at with it. It won't
Uh-huh.
take an image, so I got Chat GPT will take an image. So I gave it a picture of Pete and got Chat GPT to come up with a really good prompt. And it was really close. I mean, it was like 90%.
Wow.
Like, yeah. And so that,
Stuff that we're going to be able to do with this. It's crazy.
and it bit I mean, I could show it, but it bites the Bigfoot and Pete bites the Bigfoot, gets the DNA sample. It's pretty funny. And then we ride away on the motorcycle. So yeah, I did all that on VO3. I mean,
Wow. Well, you'll have to show it. Is it on your
no,
new channel or right now, or do you have it right now?
I could pull it up right now.
Well, pull it up. We'll show it.
Hell, where is it? It's on the computer somewhere. Let's see. Do I want? Is it in QuickTime? I know it's in iMovie. Where did I put it?
Flying purple people eaters.
Oh, there it is. Sweet. I actually found it. So there it is. And I just go to back to here. And so we have to do so StreamYard's changed. I got to make sure that the audio is there.
Yeah.
Window, my movie, share.
There's also always a new little button. Like I forgot to turn on the comments on the. Let's see if the comments will start coming out on the.
Okay, so I put it up for you to share. Just let me know.
Okay. Okay, you guys ready for this?
Just so I can hit play. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, I think that Mr. Petey Pants wants to bite me for a DNA sample. Let's see what happens when I let him.
He's got it in his mouth. Hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh my God.
Play it again.
I think that Mr. Petey Pants wants to bite me for a DNA sample. Let's see what happens when I let him.
All right, so that's all AI. Like
Yeah.
that's all VO3. That is not me riding a motorcycle.
With Petey strapped to your back.
Yeah, and it wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't put him in the like. I was trying to put him in like a little basket or something
Oh,
like,
uh-huh.
and it ignored that prompt. So
Oh.
so that brings us back around to prompts. That I guess I'll stop sharing this or whatever.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, so it is easy to use if you like if you're if you're if you're really good and detailed with your prompts, and you can use
Yeah.
Chat GPT like to help you.
Yeah.
But I only get like I can only make 2 videos a day, and I haven't been making any. Like I've been kind of wasting that
Yeah.
because I've had other shit going on, but whatever.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna
But
have to go play around with that. I've not even thought about doing that.
I mean, it
No
is.
helmet for Petey.
Yeah, no, man, Petey, he doesn't need a helmet. He's good to go. Good to go. But yeah, but those videos are getting a little old. I mean, I did a whole show because what I've realized, especially playing around with it, is that it's not going to be good at all for people to create hoax videos because it's just too good.
Yeah.
And if that's hard to wrap your head around, it's like it's not going to make a Patterson Gimlin type holy shit thing, you know. Um, it I tried to get it to do some of that stuff, and it was laughable.
Mm.
It only wants to do things that are really up close
Oh
and make them very, very detailed.
yeah.
Um, so it's actually too good to make hoax videos. And
Doggles.
and the fact that it doesn't get like it doesn't do a good Bigfoot face. It's just a kind of a gorilla
Yeah, it's
face,
kind of like animated.
you
It's
know.
very um it shows its expressions and all that stuff. So you could tell it's a fake, but I mean, I swear if there's probably people out there that do believe some of this stuff, and that's very sad. I think that's very sad.
Yeah, I mean, I I think Photoshop and like lower, like much lower grade, older AI um things would probably be actually at this point, oddly enough, would be better to make like a hoax video or
Right.
something. So
I agree with that.
um
Um,
so yeah, I mean the ball. I guess the ball really hadn't moved all that much. It's like AI has actually surpassed the sort of the hoaxing apex, believe it or not, at least for now.
yeah. Um. Uh. Okay. Yeah, but it's still that was so it looked good though. I mean, it looked pretty
Mhm.
good.
Yeah,
Fighting part didn't kind of come out, of
yeah, it was a
snapping,
little awkward. It was a little awkward. Yeah. Hmm.
but the gist was all there. If you kept working on that, you could just make it.
Here, I've got other ones. Like here, let me show you this one. Like it was kind of like Petey's. Oh no, where did we go? Where are we at? Um, it's kind of like after all that wrapped up, I did one. Oh come on, sign me in. There it is. Dog adventure. Yeah, you'll like this too. Just give me a second. Sorry. And I have some of these like attempts that I did. Like I did do some attempts to let's see. Can I widen this? I don't think so. Here, I'll just share this. I did some attempts to see like if I could. I wasn't trying to hoax anything. I just wanted to see if I could replicate like what I
Oh,
knew
we got
something would
somebody
look like.
popping in the back. I thought I thought it was you putting the video, but it's we got a guest. Let me bring him in.
Yeah.
Howdy.
Hey, what's up?
Howdy. How you doing, Bill?
Okay. I don't know how long I'll be able to stay. My
Okay.
phone doesn't hold charge like it used to, and I'm not at home. So
Okay. Yeah. No, well, thanks for dropping in. What do
yeah.
you think about all this AI and this new AI? What's it called, Pat?
VO3. So that's V like VO3.
Yeah. Overall, not just the movies, but I've been using like the music stuff, and when you consider that, I've got a graphic artist in my home, they absolutely can't stand AI, and I kind of get what they're saying. You
Yeah.
know. So, and I have used it to make some songs and whatnot. And then if you listen to it enough, one, it repeats itself over and over and over. But the other thing that it does is it does pick up stylistic forms or stylistic formats, musically of
Right.
people that are out there. So I was laughing about having a Shakira song that, I was trying to find like a good intro or something sometime whenever I get back.
Mm-hmm.
To the trail, and just trying to upgrade a little bit. Obviously, I'm going to have to upgrade this phone. I'm afraid if I turn the camera on, then I'll just drain the battery like right now.
Oh,
So
it will. It will for sure.
uh, the AI that I've seen, the Bigfoot AI stuff and like that, it's just been like, eh. Um, somebody put some time and effort in it, but the computer did all the work, and kind of, I don't
Yeah.
know. I kind of see, I see the graphic artists out there going, "Oh, come on," So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's just my
Gonna
take.
take over all their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
it's trending that way, but yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
you can
daughter
sit
is a
there.
graphic artist. That's what she's going to be going to school for.
I
And
mean,
I'm
that's
like, well,
been
just
happening
take
for a
an
long time.
AI class because that's going to be the new thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, artists in general have been. I mean, a lot of their jobs have been, replaced by easier digital things that common
Right.
people can do.
They've even taken it to court. Many artists have filed against the AI, open AI, in regards to stolen work, that the AI has gathered all this information from the internet and then is making
Right.
duplicate stuff, and it's
Right.
copyrighted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's coming.
It sounds like that band or whatever. Yeah.
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 So
No.
there's a lot of stuff that
I
needs to get
mean,
worked out in regards to that, and how, who holds copyrights, and all of that. It's kind of complicated, actually, if you think about all the different facets that it takes when somebody's stealing your copyrighted ideas
Hmm.
true, but
and
there's
and
only
pushing out 100 things with it.
yeah. The problem is there's only so many chords. Like, let's say you can make on a guitar, even though there are some wild variations and all that stuff. Uh, but you can't copyright a CGD progression. Like
Yeah,
that
that's
that's
the world. Yeah.
I
Ooh,
mean that's the CGE is one of the most famous chord progressions for hit songs like for 100 years. So I mean you can't copyright that. So
right. Um was just gonna say I had some information about that, but let's show this
Yeah,
short
this is
that you did.
this real quick. And this this looks like PD from the neck down, but that's not his face. So it didn't get the same PD. It didn't spit out the same PD.
Yeah.
I guess I'm done with that adventure. Time for me and my friends to go on a new one. I guess I'm done with that adventure. Time for me and my friends to go on a new one. I guess I'm.
So yeah, that didn't turn out exactly like I wanted it to, but yeah, it's kind of cute. But again, man, those are like very few attempts. I've only done multiple attempts, like
Yeah.
two or three times.
Wouldn't that go under intellectual property, which is kind of like copyrighted?
No, I mean the lyrics. The lyrics. If you verbatim the lyrics, that's intellectual property. I mean that's easy copyright shit. The lyrics, right? You can't copyright. You can't copyright a drum beat either. Like so, I mean that's been a thing for decades and decades.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can't copyright a drum beat. So a song is a song. It's one thing. Everything put together. The lyrics obviously themselves could be copyright written, but a song is a song. So as long as you're not like doing that exact same song, which would be a cover version, right? And then like there's really nothing they could do. Like I said, you can't copyright a GCD chord progression. Like they'd all be suing each other decades ago,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. Right.
A melody, maybe that gets into some legal like maybes with melody,
Yeah, there's been a lot who have said, "Oh, that sounds just like the Queen song, or that sounds just like a Michael Jackson song,"
Yeah,
And oh no, or what was the famous one with Vanilla Ice? Don 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 don. That one also.
That was the bass line, yeah, but that's like a melodic bass line. So now you are getting into some instrumental things there, yeah.
It got to the point where the other guy was saying it's not the same. I added a different note,
like an extra, yeah,
just a different thing, and so he's saying it's not the same.
Yeah, well, he lost that case. He lost that case.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a riff, so that'd be the equivalent of like Walk This Way, the riff, from Walk This Way, like,
yeah,
like that's, so that's obvious stuff that is
right.
Is under protection.
See, what else did I have here? We had sightings in Jackson County, Kansas in March. In Kansas. Isn't it pretty flat in Kansas?
Very, very wide open.
2 people traveling by off-road vehicle reported seeing a Bigfoot at dusk about 12 miles north of Topeka.
I'd have to look at it on a map, to see if it passes like any kind of muster.
Then they have one in February in Jackson County, Oregon. Detailed hearing unexplained knocks in the mountains approximately 28 miles northeast of Medford. See that? Why? That doesn't make sense. Why?
That's just unexplained. Yeah.
All kinds of noises. How can you say, oh, it's unexplained? So put it in the Bigfoot BFRO, because nothing else can make a knock sound out in the woods. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's it's an easy case to make why these reports simply don't matter, and that the easy case to make there is if there's a Bigfoot report in Central Park. I mean, does that belong? Like, where does that belong? Like, nowhere. Doesn't belong
Right.
anywhere. Like, so to me, that's like, well, it's a report. It's the same thing you're saying. It happened in Northern California. Let's just say it's a report. It's a report. It's a report. That's all it is. They're both reports. Why is anyone more valid than the other? It's like people can say whatever they want, and they can misinterpret all kinds of things with Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So
Kevin Hart. Oh, this was funny. That was Brent tree knocking.
Brent, he was, Bigfooter attracting Bigfooter. For that
Yeah,
story
which
before.
that probably happens. You see all these events that the BFR puts out, and I mean, look at the one up in Bumping Lake where there was a lot of people there, from what I hear. What is to say that they're not hearing themselves?
They're reporting each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's been documented cases of that happening. Of different Bigfoot groups knocking and hollering their way to each other, only to discover it was just other people doing the same thing. That has happened and will probably happen again.
Sasquatch Watch Radio podcast has an AI music problem. What, they talk about it on their show, but they keep getting hit with a copyright. If he lost, let's see, he paid a large amount, credited clean. What else? Yeah. Vanilla Ice for life. Word to your mother. That's funny.
He's way cooler. He's way cooler now than he was back then. I mean, he was just kind of a D-bag back then.
I know, right?
He turned out to be a pretty solid guy, I think. Yeah.
What does he do? He does a lot of house shows, carpentry, remodel, or whatever it is, doesn't he?
Yeah, like TV stuff, or different kinds of content. Yeah.
Let's see. That one makes no sense. A viral rafting crew video from June captures what appears to be a Bigfoot-like figure. The authenticity remains under debate. New York Post. A viral rafting video. I haven't seen that.
God only knows. Like, yeah, it's just like it's eye rolling. Like, it's just like.
That would be the Upper Yakagini's, the only one I know that they raft up there. That's pretty intense.
I mean, my mind is so entrenched in, oh my God, we need something 10 times better than the PG film. Hell, I'll take 4 times better than the PG film. Like anything that doesn't even meet the bar of the PG film is just, it's not worth even looking at or discussing, because the PG film itself is nothing more than a controversial film that does not prove Bigfoot. So, like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. None of it matters until somebody shows me something that's better than the PG film. And then that has to be scrutinized.
Nobody has. All the stuff we have, nobody has.
In 60 years, billions and billions and billions of people hours in the woods. 60 years. Nothing.
Okay, so what's next on my list? Number one, there was a lot of news out about the legislation in California wanting that Assembly Bill 666 that proposes naming Bigfoot the state's official cryptid.
Did you say Bill 666?
Yes, I did.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, is that a red flag? That might be a red flag.
It might be.
Did this article come out on April 1st?
It came out on Fox News, thesun.com, and reddit.com. There's all over.
I mean,
over.
I guess it wouldn't surprise me if
It could,
California
yeah, it
did
could totally
something
be.
like that. I mean, okay, all right, okay, California, do it. Like you do you do you, boo. Keep doing you. Yeah.
It here it lists that while it's largely lighthearted, local researchers see benefits in bolstering tourism. Sasquatch culture is big in Northern California. Yes, it is.
The bill's not going to burst tourism. I mean, it's like it is what it is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where Bluff Creek is. I mean, that's the if there's one place to go, like one physical place to go that's Bigfoot related, Bluff Creek is that mecca already.
Yeah.
Like you don't need California passing legislation to boost that at all. Unless they start putting out commercials online or something, you know.
Right.
I mean, you know,
they have something light for bill numbered 666.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I do. I swear, it sounds like an Onion headline or something like Babylon. Yeah, like
right. You people out there in the internet, start googling California's Assembly Bill 666. See if it actually somebody.
See if it actually exists.
Jen will do it because Jen's really fast with looking at that information. Assembly Bill 666 out of California.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear about it.
Yeah, hoax. We could have just been hoaxed. Okay. Next was okay. This one, I don't know. You guys tell me. So, academic tension around Dr. Jeff Meldrum. Renowned Idaho State University anthropologist Dr. Jeff Meldrum is highly respected among Bigfoot believers for his footprint and gait research. Yet some colleagues at ICU call his work pseudoscience, warning that the university could be seen as endorsing fringe research.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I mean, he's always kind of had to deal with that.
Yep.
So this is nothing new. I mean, he's got tenure there, but
yeah.
I mean, I think the criticism is justified. I mean, even just that basic statement. There are certainly things, you know, about the good doctor that I've kind of discovered to be true. I mean, he is susceptible to outright fraud. And I've seen him defend fraud when it's obvious fraud. So, you know, pseudoscience, whatever. I mean, that's debatable, but
right.
I mean,
yeah, well, I think we all kind of know that if we are open with our Bigfoot belief or hobby or investigations, research, whatever your thing is that you're going to get some people, you know, totally not believing in it and calling you crazy or nutso or, you know, it.
Maybe I think that I think, and this is just my thoughts to all people watching right now and everybody in the Bigfoot community that enjoys Bigfoot content. It depends on how staunchly you try and defend it. Like if you just say, man, Bigfoot's cool, man. Like right, Bigfoot's out in the woods. Like people aren't going to go, oh, you're nuts. It's just that if it turns into a conversation and then starts to turn into a debate, and if you start like defending it like too aggressively, that's when people just look at you and go, man, whatever, dude, you're nuts. You know?
My experience has been as lately that if you open up and talk to people about it, you'll be surprised what they might open up back to you.
Yeah, exactly. That happens too.
That's happened quite a bit here in recent months.
I mean, it's that's just a people thing. That's how people treat each other both
Mhm.
I
ways,
found
you know.
it, Jen. I did find it, but it's under AB 666.
Well,
Mm.
assembly bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still the number of the bill. I mean, yeah. So,
Why does it not come up?
but she's saying that there's nothing Bigfoot related,
Ooh, I don't
Hmm?
like that.
I guess.
I'm trying to show this, but it will not show. Whoa, there it goes. Ooh, it's all blurry. Is it blurry on your end?
Hmm.
It says California Assembly Bill 666, introduced by Assemblyman Chris Rogers, aims to designate Bigfoot as the official state cryptid of California.
Oh,
The bill, officially titled State Cryptid, was introduced on February 14th of 2025. It seeks to recognize the cultural significance of Bigfoot, particularly the Northern California, and promote tourism and education related to the creature. And then it breaks down the Willow Creek connection, moneymaker view, legislative. The bill requires 41 votes in the California State Assembly to pass. Ooh,
I'm
what happened?
sure it will.
Uh,
No, I have
and
no doubt it will pass
yeah,
whenever they're in session again. I don't know.
it's okay, Jen.
They probably just sat there and said, okay, we're at bill 664, 665.
right.
We got to have something special for this one.
Yeah, we gotta do something. Yeah, exactly. I like your thinking there, Trackway. I think you're in the ballpark, buddy.
Let's see, what else did we dig up? Also under I don't know, drama, I guess. It says, but I thought that wasn't coming up. Let me see. Did I write it down? No, I didn't. Of course I didn't.
Always.
Conference conflicts and personalities. Florida's Great Florida Bigfoot Conference recently sparked controversy when organizer Martin Pippin snubbed key researcher Sheely, sparking accusations of negativity and intentional exclusion. So it's all about the Bigfoot ego, right? Bigfoot-sized egos that are throughout the Bigfoot field.
Somebody was out of line in some kind of way. God only knows what kind of way.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Or it's
he's
personal.
you got both the two sides, the physical phenomena believers versus the paranormal proponent part, the woo, whatever. And they clash. We clash.
Yes, right. They'll clash.
It happens. And
Right.
some people can just let it go, to the side, and some can't. So
It's a good.
and that happens. I'm sure it happens more than we even know.
Oh God, yes. It's a good example of. I mean, to me, it's a great example of just. I mean, it's how emotionally attached people get to this subject, which is the flaw of the subject, is the emotional attachment, is its biggest flaw, because it's becoming quasi-religious, it's becoming cultish, and so it all swims in doctrine and gospel, and and those are powerful, very powerful things, and so people are really powerfully attached to, I don't know, whatever version, right, of the subject that they're focused on, and so those passions have a fervor of, it's almost a religious fervor, and right, so like never talk religion and politics, and like I mean, and Bigfoot has both. They're combined into one, like, annoying.
Well, they try to. That's my part, is that I think things are happening. Weird shit is happening in the woods, but I just can't leave that to Bigfoot. You know, I think that right now I'm just like they're their own entities for right now.
I mean,
We don't
really,
know.
if you're going out there and you're looking for something, what's a famous phrase? If you're looking for something, you're going to find what you want to find.
Right.
I tell people, if you're going to go out there and look for something, first off, just leave the preconceived notions at the door and just look. And you'd be amazed at the stuff that you can find. Or let me rephrase that, not the stuff that you can find, but the stuff that can find you.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I don't know.
some of the stuff, you know,
I don't.
it is what it is. It's
I mean,
just,
I mean,
and if you collect enough of it, the idea, in my case, you know, I find what I find, I bring it back, I try to debunk it myself. If I can't debunk it, hopefully somebody else will smarter can.
Right.
And the problem is, though, is finding somebody to even touch any of your material, to look at it and try to debunk it or bunk it, support it, whatever. That's
Yeah.
a huge, huge problem. And, you know, that getting stuff vetted is just about impossible. If you bring something back and you want to get it vetted, I mean, I've been trying to get something vetted for over a year and I've had no success. So,
yeah, man.
I mean, the best
you shouldn't be having success. I mean,
no, there's no success. So, I mean,
yeah.
you're pretty much on your own, and you have to, in my position, the way I believe things, the way you should do it is you should do it in the form of argumentation. And that argumentation has to do with the reasonable person standard. Can you bring something back that a reasonable person can look at and say, yes, that's something, irregardless of what it is, whether it's Bigfoot, paranormal, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's been my take for a while. And I've collected some odd stuff, and it's out there.
Well, I can tell you this whole idea of they will find you. So if your intention is to encounter or be near, right, that whole thing, and it's a Bigfoot we're talking about, whatever that is, and if the sentiment is true that they'll find you, then I call that a conjuring.
Well, I don't know if that.
Definitely not dealing with an undiscovered primate at that point. You're casting spells.
I don't know if that would be like a proper thing.
Sure.
In that ideology, in what I'm saying,
it's the only thing it could be.
If you put a couple people out and you're just following them secretly, quietly, not secretly, they know you're there. And you're hoping that something will pay attention to them and you'll catch whatever that is making a mistake. You know, that's not necessarily the same thing.
I don't know. I don't know how one follows a Bigfoot.
Well, I don't really think
they would have been discovered decades ago.
I didn't say one follows a Bigfoot. I said if you put a couple people in front of you and you just let them draw attention and you just secretly ghost behind those two people, hopefully something will make a mistake looking at them.
Yeah, but where?
Well, that's a good question, and it's a huge map.
Like what?
The only thing.
What part of the country are you in?
I'm in Ohio, but I've been all over the place.
Okay.
I spent time with Nikki up in British Columbia.
No, I'm not questioning your experience in the world. I'm just curious what part of the country you might be in the most.
Oh, the most? Yeah. I would say between New York and Ohio, probably parts of Pennsylvania.
Right.
So I'm at the foothills. I'm at the foothills of Appalachia.
Yeah. So and you go into large areas of forest, right, to try and investigate, right, or whatever.
Yeah, sometimes, but I don't do I do a different approach. I don't go out there making much noise. I just go out there and watch.
Yeah, I get it. My point is that you're dealing with vast, huge amounts of forest, and so like just any kind of idea of being anywhere close to a Bigfoot that is recognizable. Your perception is really just a couple 100 feet in the woods. Their perception would be about the same if there was some kind of primate.
if
It
there's
wouldn't
some
be
kind
any
of primate.
greater. Yeah, yeah. It wouldn't be any greater than ours in any
I mean,
significant way.
you take a look at how.
So it'd still just be a random encounter. It wouldn't. It's not.
Yeah,
They're
it's still
looking
you're
for
still talking a
you.
random.
Yeah, it's not they're looking for you or you're like looking for them. It's just as random as any real encounter has ever happened.
Hmm.
And you're
Now, what
talking
I
about a 1,500 square mile area. The chances of that are 0.02%.
well, I'm not so sure about that, but what I will say is that when you're
It's in
talking
the
about,
ballpark.
if you're
It's in the
talking about perception itself, and you're talking about how animals perceive something, I spend hundreds, if not thousands, of hours up in a tree stand, and I had one little deer come up underneath my stand, and that little deer was telling me the location of deer 100 yards, 250 yards that I wasn't noticing that they were there. He would turn and he would stand and he would stare at one area, and then finally I'm like, what the heck has got his attention? And you're talking about an animal that's known not to have the world's greatest stereoscopic vision. It has fantastic hearing. And you're also talking about an animal that has fantastic smell. But, at the time, that smell wasn't coming uphill. But he tuned in on the two does over 100 yards away and told me they were there. And then he tuned in to two more larger deer that were probably about 250 yards away from me that I didn't know was there.
Sure.
So the perception and how we perceive things and how animals perceive things we can't go into the woods and expect, what's that anti-pomorphism? You're projecting you're projecting your senses on how another animal senses you.
That's not what I'm doing. I'm just okay. So with the deer, obviously you have the muzzle, you have a muzzle cavity and amazing hearing. Probably factored in. Bigfoot are not known. Bigfoot are not known for big giant scooped ears or muzzles. So
no, you're correct, but we can't.
We're just
we can't say that we can compare anatomies. We can, say, take a tossier up in the trees. A primate with fixed eyeballs, right? Incredible night vision. It hunts in the tops of trees in the dark.
Don't know
eating bugs, and it's a primate, and it's a tossier. That Tasier.
Oh yeah, a known primate, sure.
Yeah, but and you can go to another primate. There's a whole bunch of them. Actually, when people think about their own night vision and the night vision that we have, they always say that we don't have really good night vision, but comparatively, actually, we have pretty good night vision. It's dependent upon the state of the moon and the canopy you're in.
Right.
True. Yeah. I mean,
Pancho here has a good point. He tried to debunk a person's claim and got told he was being rude and he got blocked. And that's what happens to a lot of us who make any type of criticism or try to come up with the answers for people's videos or pictures. That's immediately what happens is that we'll get shut down and blocked and told, that we're not doing the right thing. And that's what we deal with. Now he makes is this what you were, Pancho, trying to debunk? This guy, I guess, claimed that he did rodeos 800. He did 800 in a year. Now that should send up some red flags right there. Okay.
Yes, considering 365 seems to be the max amount you could do.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's almost 3 a day. Almost like
that's
2.5.
Laughable. That's
2.5 a day.
laughable. You just can't even. Yeah. It's not possible. That is not a possibility. He would have to be a man made of steel, literally, to be able to do rodeos, 800 rodeos, three a day.
Almost, about. I don't know how you do 2.5 a day. So like 2 a day, and then 4 a day, and then
Yeah,
2 and 2. You know, like 3.
Rodeos aren't exactly right next to each other either. There's a great amount of travel that happens with cowboys traveling from
That's true too.
place to place, you know?
They're not next door to each other.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of factors there that would say
Mm.
bullshit, right? That's bullshit, and people need to call that
I
example.
think personally, if you're going to present something, you need to work at it as several different directions that you can. And then, if you're going to bring it out as a question mark, be upfront and present as a question mark and know that you're going to get hammered. I welcome it. I'll go to one person I know who is probably the biggest hammer I ever met whenever I have any material, and he will just tear it apart. And that's a good thing. I'm out looking for my personal stance is I'm out looking for answers, for my own answers.
Right.
And I don't know if the standard of being able to present something to the world and having the world accept it is really achievable.
I don't think. My prediction last week.
I mean,
it's not going to happen.
No, look at Patterson Gimlin film. How long's that been around? There are people that are 50-50, to this day.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't quite meet the bar, honestly, but it could happen if they're there, and if they are there, and somebody knows where they're at, it could easily happen. Like discovery is the easy part at that point. There's ways to make it happen. It's just finding them, which is a contradiction. Once you accept that, then you can't. People have got to stop saying that. Bigfoot's showing up to every get-together they have, or Bigfoot's in their backyard and all that. Like, just ridiculous narrative.
It turns out to not be repeatable, right? You can say,
"Oh no, it is. It is repeatable."
The minute another person comes into the picture, oh, they're not here today, or they,
But not many skeptics are showing up to these things. But it's definitely repeatable, because on their next outing, they get wood knocks again. And then the next year when they have their same event, somebody heard a whoop, and next thing you know, there's a 2-hour show about it. And it was definitely Bigfoot, or maybe this time it was Dogman. Like, so again, big giant false narrative, and you can't question it. So what he's saying, like, whatever, if you question, it's gospel. So anything that anyone says is treated as gospel. It's not just encounter stories anymore. It's
a paradigm has been created, and anything that falls into that paradigm is often, unfortunately, accepted as the paradigm. The wood knocking thing, yes, there are a ton of stuff that's out there that can make wood knocks. Trees popping from thermal expansion because they don't internally cool down or heat up at the same rates. Right. Deer smacking each other on the head. Pine cones, mass crops such as acorns falling, walnuts falling, stuff like that. But and that can happen at any time. That's why I don't wood knock, because that's a primer. When you wood knock and you hear something fall out in the woods, you're already primed to expect a reaction. So I don't do it. I just move slow and go. Same thing with calls. Anytime you make a call, it could be a coyote, and you've primed yourself, and now you think you got a coyote that's talking back to you, and you think it's something else. I don't think you can do that. Now,
a lot of people do. Most people have Bigfoot on the brain when they go out in the woods, and they're in love with the Bigfoot subject.
I will say that there does appear to be an association with a particular style of knock with the phenomenon. While that's from my experience, but it's not just anyone. I've sat down on the ground, heard a little tiny wood knock 2 inches away from me. Does that mean it was It was associated? No, it wasn't associated. It was a thermal expansion of a tree.
Yeah.
Or trees falling down. I sat up in the truck one morning and watched the tree literally fall down a second after I sat up in the truck. Is that related? Well, no, I walked over there, checked it out. It was a rotten tree. It's not, you can't prove causality. You can't associate. You have to go out and you have to literally catch it or have something happen that, you probably aren't going to be able to prove. Associated with whatever. But
just not like most people.
The back that just popped in. I'm gonna bring him on real quick.
Oh, wizard, what do you see as you twist the tile?
Hey.
The man, the myth, the legend.
What's going on?
There he is.
Up in the Adirondacks. I wish I could sing that song right now.
Yeah, that was great, man. Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait to use that. That was wicked cool.
Was
are
awesome.
You, Jonathan?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Nikki? How you doing, Pat?
What's up? What's up?
Bill?
Same old John. I left you guys at Salt Fork, and I haven't. Well, today was the first day I've actually been in my home since I left.
Wow.
Okay.
So I've been that busy and taking care of business. So, and I've just recently started looking at the stuff that we took. So.
Okay. Yeah.
What are you thinking about all this conversation, Jonathan?
I've caught bits and pieces of it because my phone keeps going in and out, and I think I caught. You guys were speaking about. I think Pat was just speaking about the Patty film, and he needs to see something that's at least 4 times better, 10 times better, and
yeah.
You guys were talking about AI or something. I think Pat did a video or something showing how the new AI is getting better, but still having troubles defining the more definitive features of the Sasquatch to fool everybody.
Right.
I could have missed
We
it.
talked about a little bit of everything so far. I'm just going down a list of different discussions that we can hit, and another one that actually came up was the TV show stuff, the skepticism that's surrounding Expedition Bigfoot, and because it's kind of exploded on Reddit, where several different individuals are just coming out saying it's totally scripted and staged and it's undermining credibility. Do you guys feel that? Because I know I do. I know I don't even watch it because I feel that it is completely entertainment based. And
well, I think if
of course it is. It's a TV show.
Well,
yes.
I mean, if
it's not real.
Determining whether it's real or not, or even giving a shit whether it's real or not, is in your wheelhouse, you would recognize that stuff. But if you're just common everyday family that likes to watch Bigfoot shows, probably not picking up on anything like that, or probably don't really even care. So there's probably a small isolated group of individuals that's analyzing that show and saying, man, that's scripted all the way, and this is not doing anybody any good. So I think, again, we're a minority. So for the minority, sure, for showbiz, are these folks having troubles with the producers like Bobo and Cliff did, and Renee, where they were trying to, flash things up and make it a little more exciting than it really was? And didn't they put the kibosh to that and set some new rules and say, if we're going to move forward, don't be creating things that are not here?
Right. Yeah.
Is that going on in that show? I'm not aware of the show. I know what show you're talking about, but I don't watch it. So,
I mean,
go ahead.
To me, it's interesting, but if they're able to prove what they captured was captured, I mean, that's one thing. The other thing that I think people need to get a solid understanding of is that this show's only like 5 or 6 shows long. They don't have that big a budget. And, I just, I'm not, to me, if it inspires people to go out and look, it just makes the world smaller for us that are going out there and looking hard. Maybe they'll push something our way. I don't know. So I
Well,
don't really have much of a
so much
opinion on it.
controversy with it, but already we know Squatch America Scott Violet, he was actually asked to be on that show and refused because of issues involving scripting and making things, changing things, for entertainment value.
Sure.
And
I mean,
that's
100%.
Yeah,
that
makes
But think
perfect
about-
sense, Scott, and
But think about all the stuff that's inspired, right?
right.
Right now, we have a show on, don't we? And where the inspiration from the shows come from? Nikki, you were inspired by people putting stuff out that you didn't agree with. Pat was inspired to start his show, and then with what he had to say. So did Jonathan, and I got inspired. Well, actually, I was inspired by Joe. Joe Schneider was the first person that I really really knocked my wheelhouse off and inspired me to go out and look, but the thing of it is, these shows inspired us to do this stuff, whether we want to admit it or not.
Not me, and I wouldn't be afraid to admit it. I am not inspired by any TV show when it comes to Bigfoot. Zero. Not Finding Bigfoot, which was an okay show,
Well, maybe not the show, but the question of.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, it's always been the curiosity, like nothing more. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? The Expedition Bigfoot that you're speaking of, are these a new series that started this year?
No, it's season
it's
5,
been
4 or
been
5
on.
they're on. Yeah.
Okay, season 4 or 5.
Season 4 or 5. And it's a horrible TV show, in my opinion. Like, it's not even a good show. Like, I could be pretty objective about that.
But I mean, is this something that's popped up here recently? These folks, is there new releases here currently?
Let's see. So Bigfoot Expedition Bigfoot started in 2019. It's on its 6th season.
6th season.
Okay.
Yeah, 6th season. And
I mean,
let me see how many.
They're getting overly sensational, whereas like compared to like Finding Bigfoot, once it found its groove, that's where its success was, and they kept that formula like for every show until they did like season.
Are these like? Well, I'm sorry, Pat, you were cutting out, so I thought you were done. Go ahead.
It's just so Finding Bigfoot found its groove and maintained it for many, many seasons. And Expedition Bigfoot's getting like more and more like sensational and outrageous and just so obviously like fake, like,
trying really hard to get another season in.
Probably. I mean,
they do about 8 episodes per season is what they've been doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this the crew that I don't know, probably about a year ago there was something flared up about, I guess they found out they made it sound like they were way up in the backwoods, and then come find out they were at some resort or something filming.
There's a ranch out in Wyoming.
Their first season, I think. That happened the very first season. The whole Cinnabar mine. Yes, it was. So they got busted. They got completely busted with like over the top, sensational, made up fiction scenarios that weren't even close to reality. At this tourist trap of a place or touristy place, and so I'm shocked they got more.
Did they use a blimp? Did they use
Yes.
a blimp with a FLIR? Okay, and then they had captured something that looked like a humanoid figure out in the woods that dashed camera left.
Which was like extremely inconclusive and probably
Right.
staged for TV purposes. Like, oh my
Can you
god, dude.
imagine that?
It
And
is
to
what
have
it
that on your
is.
conscience. I mean,
It is what it is. Like,
and I guess you're gonna go to the grave with it.
A TV show is never gonna like discover Bigfoot. Like, that's so silly.
And do you think that the folks that are the quote unquote researchers are in on the little hoaxes, or do you think that they watch the show and go, "What the
This
hell?"
season it's Bryce, Mariah, Russell, and Biko.
Russell,
And
Russell Accord.
Yes, Russell Accord.
Russell Accord.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he early in that show there, they have that one clip where across the valley, you know, he's sitting in the evergreens with that long range telescope glass in the other hillside, and he sees a dark spot, and then all of a sudden it stands up and starts to walk off. They end the clip right there. I mean, assume, I guess, that it was a Bigfoot or whatever, but yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. Well,
I mean, I think it is interesting when they use the LiDAR stuff, the 3D LiDAR stuff.
That's the worst tool. That would be the worst tool in the tool bag to ever look for Bigfoot.
Some of the tech that they've shown,
not how LiDAR works. So.
Like the tethered drones and stuff like that, I thought was pretty interesting. And some of the other,
it's because they make it look interesting.
Like Skinwalker Ranch, only Bigfoot.
Yeah.
If you got an Apple, you got a LiDAR.
I think you just need to watch and know that it is entertainment, you know, and take it for what it's have some excitement spots. What do they call those zingers, you know, that they can make their commercials out of to draw people into watching. So it's but it's interesting, and it's I like the fact that they do have a primatologist on board, Dr. Mariah Mayer. And I don't know Russell, you know, personally. You know, I know of his association with Bob Gimlin and that whole mess there.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of like, it kind of leaves
for TV, you're gonna I mean, think about it. You're going to get around, you know, the think tank brainstorming around the round table, and you're going to sit down and say, okay, let's start making a list of let's start with the top 10 things that attract people to Bigfoot. I mean, Pat said long ago, you know, the one thing that brings people in is Bigfoot showed up. Well, there's one, right? Bigfoot to show up to the show. Fancy equipment and fancy experiments, and I'm sure they sat down, brainstormed all that, put it together, and said somehow, some way, we need to be able to develop this, to produce it and put it out to the public, and it will sell. And if we don't have any of that, it'll be boring as hell, and you'll be season negative too.
and the truth is, like, the most entertaining thing you could ever do with Bigfoot would be the exact opposite. You just intentionally do it to do it, like, and use tech and do it right, and you document it. And you have people there to document that, but they're just there to, like, film it and document it. Like, there's no script, there ain't nothing. Like, you're just honestly out there with your tech, ideally, and
hundreds
your
and
ideas,
thousands of hours of nothing,
and just do it to do it. And if people are there to document it, and if you make that discovery, then boom, that's the most. Okay, now you have PG times a million, and like that, it's gonna like. It's off to the races from there.
Yeah. It's nothing that any TV producer is gonna you know, you're not going to
No.
hook them on that one because there's just too much time and
But you
money
don't-
involved on a hope
Here's the
that
thing:
nothing-
you don't
anything will happen.
need TV producers anymore. All you need is a production company that's interested in your idea. That's it.
Right
You
on.
just need a production company.
But if
and
they listen to the mat of if they watch this show, they're gonna be like, well, you got to be crazy. How long? You just said a while back ago, 60 years, 50, 60 years. What's it been?
almost 60 since the PG film.
Almost.
It was 1967, October 1967.
Well, I
Yeah.
tell you one thing, this hobby isn't cheap.
No, it's
No.
not. And nothing happens very often. And I mean,
I
even
mean-
some of the stuff that I think is probably could have some weight to it, which
hobby.
I put a lot of weight in the Olympic Project and other individuals that are doing work like that. I like audio. I do like thermal. I do like video. I take it for what it is. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Depending on who actually is presenting that work, you know, piques my interest more than just somebody that's that. But
Well,
either way, these
tell you
TV
this.
folks, I mean, if you take all of what's gathered and then sift it and then put a pile of the best 150, 200 of anything, whether it be track, audio, video, thermal footage, and then say, how long did it take to gather all that? Then take that to your movie producer and say, would you guys like to follow me around for the next 8 to 10 years on the hopes that I'm going to give you 3 or 4 minutes
Yeah.
of fame?
Well,
Nobody going to buy that shit.
I always tell everybody that, you know, if you get into this, it's 99.9% boredom and making food
Right
food
on.
out of
Right.
stuff you normally would never eat. And 0.01%, oh my
Yeah.
God, did that just happen?
yeah.
If you love the woods and everything else in it, it's so much better. I mean, if you love to film birds and you love to film just the actual
Mhm.
thrill of filming. There was a time when I was practicing really hard because I was like, well, I'm up here in the woods. I ain't seeing any Sasquatch, but I've got gray squirrels and birds and all this. And I'm like, what if that Sasquatch was running through the woods going like a bat out of hell? Let me film this crow flying through and then look at it and be like, well, shit,
Yeah.
that's blurrier than hell. I got to fix that. I mean, because if I do get the chance of a lifetime, I need to have my shit together and be able to adjust quickly in order to get crisp footage. So it was fun. It became a lot of fun filming and dealing with the rest of the wilderness.
And you need to be in depth. You need, if you're out there looking, yes, you need a camera that backs up your thermal. You need your thermal to back up a third camera.
Right.
You know, some people walk with just one camera. That's not going to cut it. You need to have, 2, 3, a listening device. You need to be paying attention.
I think all of those tactics are horrible tactics. People have been doing that for
I'll
decades.
catch it in just a moment. I have to go pull a camera and an audio recorder out of a tree in my backyard. Give me 1 second. It's getting dark. I'll be right back.
Sorry. It's people have been trying to do all of that for decades.
I don't know.
Use the technology. Yes.
What I've seen
as it's progressed.
What I've seen, that's not happening.
Nothing.
That's not happening.
What are you talking about? People take a parallel.
Yes, they go out with it. Okay, hang on. Can I talk?
Thermal
Give me 1 second
cameras.
here.
I haven't said anything in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And I have a little speech. And that is that people do take parabolic dishes. They do take audio recorders. They do take thermal monoculars. They don't take anything really advanced. And you've got 1,000 trees around you anyway. So, I mean, the better the thermal, the better like your chances are. But nobody could, like, big builders don't have $15,000 thermal cameras. That's not a thing. So,
exactly. What were you going to say?
Okay. What I was going to say is most of the time they don't pick them up and put them up and on until something happens. And it doesn't matter if it's a squirrel or whatever. What I'm saying is that, yes, I keep a camera going nonstop on top of my head with a spare battery pack. not running off the camera's battery. I'm running off a big battery pack in the back. I'm running off, I got camera on top of camera, always running, always going out. And that doesn't happen all the time. I mean, from the people I've seen out there, it's reactionary. And I've
Yeah.
proved that the moment something happens, okay, you're not fast enough. Your head's going to turn and address whatever the stressor is. In the case that I proved, it was a falling tree. It was a widowmaker. The camera in my hand never moved. Okay. So there's a lot of variables involved with this, and it's not quite as simple as, although there's people out there, they're going to yank out their phone and take a picture or something. I'm
The
to a
biggest
degree,
variable is
if they're going to
Bigfoot's
have it
hair.
at the ready, and not to mention battery, like tonight, the battery on his phone's dying. You know, I can't go out there for 4 hours straight and just run off a phone battery
Okay.
nonstop around the clock. That's insane.
You're
I mean, you have to have an external power source.
You're
You have to
missing my
keep it
point.
going. No, I'm
When I
not.
say
And you have to have, and you're going to have
Yes.
to have some kind of illumination for your system.
the problem is you're assuming there's Bigfoot's within a couple 100 feet of you at any given time that you're ever in the woods, and that's a
Well,
horrible
that's
assumption.
the only choice you have, because you're not going to
As-
reach out
as-
250 yards. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
I agree.
You're not going to reach out 300 yards either. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Not if you're
counting
boots
on
on the ground guy.
if
But you
you're
guys-
counting on an
You
encounter,
guys love doing that. That's the
you're
problem.
talking about 30 to 50 yards, maybe shorter max. I don't know, but you're talking about, you know, your ideal position really is 20 to 30.
Right. And the odds of that happening with a rare and elusive
No,
creature
it's
like
not very good. It's not very
No,
good at all.
that's an understatement. It's
But
astronomically off the charts against you.
the thing of it is, yeah, and I agree with
Yeah.
that. But the thing of it
You
is,
should-
when you're out there and you're filming and you're
You
doing
should
it,
get hit by
your
lightning.
cameras need to be on. Your cameras all need to be on the whole dang time, and you need to have camera watching camera. So
But
if
that's-
I show you a thermal image, I'll laugh at it. You hand me a thermal image and say it's an unknown creature, I'm going to laugh at you, because I know, number one, that in depth you can layer the picture together, and that picture can give you a false reading that it's an actual body, which it's not. You need to have another camera watching over that
Yeah.
thermal so that you can go to that camera and say, okay, is what this thing's seeing true? Case in point, West Virginia. I'm on a four-wheeler, I got a camera on my head, and I got a static camera on the ground watching. I come rolling up, I become a victim of it's not pareidoia, parallax. I become a victim of parallax. My eyes tell me I just watched something run through the woods. Like, the camera on my head told me, yes, there's something in the woods. The static camera said, nothing happened. And that's why you need to have these things in depth as well, because sometimes your camera will lie to you, your eyes will lie to you. But if you've got a third camera that says, hey, nothing happened, you have to go with that camera that says nothing happened.
Okay.
That's a good way to
I get it.
troubleshoot
So
things too, because
you're-
if you're
you're-
trying to film a partridge or something like that, to use them techniques in the event that someday you do capture it, you do get a chance to capture a Sasquatch, it's good to work on all of those techniques so that when that moment happens, wouldn't it be the person's going to
maddening.
say, I had the Sasquatch right in front of me and everything went wrong and I've got another blurry photo or a blurry video. You got to practice those techniques.
Okay, so all you're doing is saying what I'm saying is basically bad tactics, which is walking around in the woods with cameras. That's the bad tactic. You're like,
where are you
all you're
supposed to
doing
film
is
the Sasquatch, Pat?
please.
Well, hang on.
Go
And then
ahead,
Comes
go
a-
ahead.
please
I'm
let me
listening.
finish my point. I'm getting
Yeah, go
frustrated
ahead.
as hell here.
Yeah, go ahead.
The whole
bud.
point is that I consider that a bad tactic. Number one,
Okay.
because it hasn't worked in decades. Number two, it's because there are 80 million people that go out in the woods now with cameras attached to them or in their freaking pocket. All right, and that's billions of hours, okay, being spent out in the woods. And what you're doing is not even a drop in the bucket. We're talking billions of hours. Okay, people with fucking technology strapped to their heads. I put a camera on me today. Put cameras on my chin mount. Like I do that too. So my point is this: is that you're walking around in the woods, and you're just the idea that you're going to get within a couple of 100 feet of the most rare and elusive creature on planet Earth, which would be the most amazing biological discovery ever. That in and of itself is astronomically off the charts. Virtual zero chance that that's going to happen.
Okay,
So when
what
we're
you're
talking about
describing,
Bigfoot, you have to hone it into a much larger but relatively small area, say a 40 square mile area that you might think it's in, and maybe you have good reason to think that. And how are you even knowing that? Because a person in a 40 square mile area, you could spend your whole entire lifetime searching a 40 square mile area. It's a very big area out there in the woods and the mountains. Okay. But
well,
looking for Bigfoot, that's a teeny tiny area to be looking in.
Okay.
And so that's
now, how
my
do you
point.
Get the
There's a
4K footage?
huge disconnect here.
How do you
with
get
reality.
the footage though?
I have to disagree with that because
no, hold on one second, Pat.
Okay, go ahead.
If you want to film a Bigfoot, you do it from the air. Like God dang it!
So you're on the drone
said it
again.
1,000 times, you know.
All right. So how are you going to chase a Bigfoot through the forest and the brush and the thickness that they travel in? How are you going to do that?
In the wintertime when the canopy is down, it's not as thick and you can clearly see them.
I don't know, man.
I mean, you don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Are you disagreeing with reality? Like,
well, okay.
You asked me a fair question. You asked me a fair question. I gave you a realistic answer. In the wintertime, the canopy is down and the brush isn't as thick. That's how you chase them with a drone.
Situation. I think you've shut every other door because you sound like a broken tape recorder. Boots on the ground will get it done, just like all the rest of the scientists do. When they find a species, they put together
biological evidence,
and they study it, and they collect biological evidence. They don't send a fucking drone.
Bigfooters. No. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about Bigfooters collecting. I'm not talking about Bigfooters collecting biological evidence. Unacceptable. We want a professional scientist, wildlife biologists, real collectors of biological evidence that know what they're doing to go do that. That's what we want. All right.
And
but
that is happening.
You have to know from who. Name me one.
Hitchcliff.
Who's that?
I think it's Hitchcliff or Hitchcliff.
Yeah,
he's the naturalist down there in Saltport. He's not really a Bigfooter. He's a naturalist who goes in there, basically takes care of the nature in the area.
Darby Orcutt's not a Bigfooter either, and he's.
Yeah, I think we are starting to.
Darby Orcutt's not collecting evidence. He's not physically.
What I was going to say about tactics there. Okay, you're describing hunting tactics. You know, 45 years a hunter here. All right, you're stand hunting, which is basically ambushing.
No animals.
Yeah.
No animals. That certainly doesn't apply. Your hunting experience doesn't.
No, just relax.
So you know how to find. Okay, so you know how to find Bigfoot.
Is
that what you're telling me?
Nobody's claiming that.
Nobody's claiming that. I'm just talking about tactics, and you're not giving me a chance to talk because you're talking over me.
Okay.
Now,
so how does that apply to Bigfoot?
Oh, for God's sakes! All right.
How does
Let's
your
try
hunting
again.
experience?
Let's try again. All right.
I'm all ears.
Okay. Well, number one, who's the number one people who have the highest amount of sightings? And that's hunters. Okay.
I don't know that.
So, yeah.
I don't know where you're getting that information.
So there's 3 different types. You can glass, right? Which is glassing an area from a distance because you're intending to take the animal from a distance. You see that out west. You see that out in the western mountain ranges. Okay. Then there's stalk and prey, right? There's stalk hunting. Right. Both of those are proven effective. Proven hunting tactics, proven effective. Not much different than walking around with a camera.
Right.
Known animals, unknown. You know, how many hunting stories do you have out there that they walked upon this?
Well, if it was,
and then there's stand hunting, and I go out and Hey, can
Why
I
isn't it
finish?
Pat,
Well,
let him
it's-
finish.
Look,
But he
dude,
shuts down.
I
he
spent
shuts
over
it
40
down.
some. I spent over 40
Yeah.
some odd years in the woods. Have I seen one out in the woods? I have not seen anything that I will tell you 100% was the creature. I will tell you at the same time, though, I've seen some stuff that I don't know what it was. Okay, flat
Well,
out, I will
okay.
tell you that.
So
And
why isn't
of
it
those
happen-
hours,
Why
I
isn't
have.
it happening?
Hey,
Why isn't it
just
happening?
relax.
I'm asking
Okay,
a question.
and
I'm very relaxed. I'm asking a question. Why hasn't it happened? How come somebody hasn't killed a Bigfoot and dragged it into town then if it's so easy?
well, if you
I'm missing something here. It's that
well,
easy?
oh, for Christ's sakes.
60 years, it hasn't happened. Doesn't that, I mean, isn't that data?
No,
Is the
not
data not
technically,
support what I'm
because when you're
saying?
talking about guys out there hunting and stuff, I'm thinking, I bow hunt. I don't go out there with a gun. I've got limited range. I got 30-yard stock, right? 30, 40, 50 sometimes with my bow. Okay, so
But
that's my
still,
area. People out there with rifles, yeah, they can reach out a hell of a lot farther, a hell of a lot quicker, but they're not out there near as long as I am.
my point is this.
Okay,
If
so
base,
I'm
if,
there. I'm out from October to the end of January, depending upon what I decide to take. The hunters, rifles, depending upon their ODR and depending upon their state, might be out there 1 week. They might be out there for a weekend. You know, that's the kind of thing you need to consider and think about too on this. And you also need to think about and
Okay,
consider too that when you're
considering it.
moving, somebody is moving, all right, how many times did you walk right past a deer and never saw the dang deer?
The only thing I'm considering is that you're trying to sell me that basic hunting tactics should be able to get this solved pretty quick.
No, what I'm telling you are the types of hunting tactics out there. Now, the tactics that I use, and there's different,
To what
there's
end?
different kind of tactics out there. You know, if you want to really think about it, the tactic that I used with Jonathan and Brent was I let those guys go out in front of me and hope to find something, make a mistake.
I know, but you the point you're arguing is no, these tactics work and they would work. And
No,
I'm asking you, well, if they're so good and they work, how come they
I'm not-
haven't worked in 60 years? And how come nobody's doing that if it would that of a no-brainer? Like that's a great tactic. We should
There's
try
a
that.
lot of people trying that,
And
yet-
with
I
no
understand
results.
your argument. The
No
the
results.
argument you have, Pat, is nobody boots on the ground can show you something that proves without a shadow of a doubt that that's a Bigfoot. And so your alternative to that is let's try this. I don't think there's anything wrong with the drone
no.
theory. I don't. And I would love for the drone theory to show a
It's not a
crystal
theory.
clear hypothesis, an
It's not a
idea.
hypothesis. When I explain the power of the drone,
Well, what do
it
you
is
call
what
it?
it is. It's inarguable. Like it's
Okay.
inarguable.
But there are people using drones
It'll
out
be
There are
there.
people using
inarguable
drones.
when you show us the picture of the Sasquatch or know somebody who has the means to do so and does this. That's when
Okay,
it'll
look,
become inarguable. But your point
No.
is just as arguable as anybody's because
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have the receipt.
Yeah, I
And
know.
not
Well,
everybody's got a $20,000 drone that they can walk out and pick up.
Right.
I know guys that do.
I
You-
would
you
try
show
it.
me-
Well,
I did.
that's
I would
great.
You
try
show
your
me-
idea, Pat. No doubt about
You
it.
show
I'll
me.
try.
I'll just leave it at this. You show me where a Bigfoot is within a 40 square mile area, we'll all be millionaires. Fair enough.
Duh.
That's a pretty steep claim.
I mean, every time you go out there, you're basically hoping. It's hope. What part of 99% boredom was missed there when I said
No, I get that, but I mean, now you're telling me like
no? You have got you got to go out there with a plan.
They're great. Yeah, but then you contradict yourself if you try to defend that boot on the ground tactics are working and are good. Clearly, they're not. I don't have
It's
to
a
show
way
receipts for the drone because nobody's looking for Bigfoot
No.
with the drone.
It's
Look, there's people looking for Bigfoot with a drone, and the next excuse will be, well, Bigfoot's
Who?
in the pines. Okay.
No, who? Who's looking?
There's a lot
No,
of
And
Matt
I'm not-
Moneymaker has a Mavic. I know that Randy Harrington, he has an Autel Evo 2 Dual, which I used to believe that drone
It doesn't.
was a
I
good
don't.
drone, but I've now come to realize, nope, we can get more advanced to that for about the same price as even as what Randy has. So there
Well,
are
I
very
could tell
few
you,
people doing it. Very few. And they haven't had any
I've
luck.
What are the chances of even seeing a Bigfoot?
slim to none.
Virtually
Slim to none.
zero.
Do
I
you
say
think
virtually
that?
zero. Yep.
Well, virtually zero. So let's take the one fraction of a point that it happens, be it the hiker, mom and dad see it on the trail. Steve calls, goes out, take a piss by a trail. There's a shadowy figure. Joe Snyder goes back to get his stick. There's Rasta. If and when that situation occurs, you feel that it's irrelevant or not a necessity if you're one that is trying to train yourself to be able to bring home the receipt, bring home the good footage, not to practice these techniques to do so. So you don't need training to capture something good. You don't need to train to be a photographer or train to be a doctor or train.
That's whoa, you're getting convoluted there. I'm not saying that at all. The only thing I said, only thing I said is boots on the ground tactics as a whole don't work, and that has been proven in 60 years.
It don't work.
The last boots on the ground effort, the most successful boots on the ground effort was Roger Patterson, bro.
There you go. There it worked.
Yeah.
And why? Because Roger
did not. That's a controversial
camera, film. Right? Well, it's controversial, but it's close.
Right? Well, then we can't say it worked. I mean, if you think that's Patty, then I understand your language is correct.
It doesn't matter what that thing is.
It didn't prove Bigfoot.
Elk, if it was an elk, he practiced with the camera. He was on the horse. He collected himself.
That is all true.
Position, he dropped down and he filmed something.
One of the best questions I ever heard, one of the best questions I ever heard spoken to somebody was, do you believe the Patterson Gimlin film is real? But before they could answer, the same person asked them, does it really matter anymore?
And I think that because it can never be proven real. It could only ever be proven a hoax. It could never be proven real. I don't think. I don't see a path to that. But it doesn't matter. So that happened in 1967. And so I grant all those things. And yes, I understand Roger was in the frame of mind. He was. So he was doing these things, which probably like trickled down to what you guys are talking now. Like you're influenced by that event, but it hasn't happened since. And 6 decades is a long time. And that's enough lack of data for me to look at it and go, well, it's 2025. We have better technology. Walking around the woods there's an emotional connection. You already called it. Trackway has already called it a hobby. And so it's a fun thing to do. And I'm not trying to take away your fun thing to do.
It's not
you're an individual and you can go do whatever you want in this world as long as you're
hunting is a hobby. Fishing is a hobby. Both are highly expensive. I haven't done either one of them since I had an episode, since something happened. And I have been nothing but laser focused on getting this done until my current situation. That's what's driven me. Everybody out there's had a passion to bite on this hook and start chasing. You ask them, a good bit of them have had something happen that they don't understand and they want to understand.
I understand.
Now, I don't watch a whole lot of stuff. I don't watch a whole lot of programs. I'm careful about people that I like to be around. I like Nikki. I like John. These are people that bring something that I can attune to. That was probably one of the best things. And I said this to you, Pat, back in the day, that when I first started, that I was lucky that I ran into that group, you, Joe, Nikki, and so forth. And I took that mindset and I went out hunting. And I've been out there hunting for this thing when opportunity is present. And I'll tell you right now, I have enough reason to believe there's something out there. and I just want to get that good solid footage. But the question of
I understand.
whether or not I will ever present it is probably no.
Right. Look, I just want it to be understood. I'm not trying to take any personal connection away from anybody in the Bigfoot world, and especially you two gentlemen who are with me now. It's not personal. When I say they're bad tactics, that's my opinion overall.
I can accept that.
It's
I can accept that.
I'm not saying Jonathan and Trackway, you idiots should stop going out in the woods and you should go buy a $15,000 drone. No,
You
go
get pretty close to that though, Pat.
No, that's
get
what
pretty
you
darn close
think
to
I'm
that.
saying. That's why
There's
why I'm
stuff I don't agree
clarifying.
with, and I
I'll
think
try to work on that.
there's stuff that I don't agree with. You know, like going out and doing the calls and doing all that because you don't know
Right.
what the hell's calling back.
Exactly.
I would rather go out there and do everything 100% passive.
I
You know?
am only stating my opinions based on what I know to be true. Okay. And I'm not trying to take away your fun or criticize you for having fun in the woods, because you should have fun in the woods. Okay.
Well,
Go enjoy yourself in any way you want in the woods, man. That's your deal. I would never try and take that away from you.
I don't know if I would describe it always as fun. Have you seen the footage from the last time I was out? I had 4 days of rain. That wasn't fun for anybody.
I hear you, man. Like, I
It's
get
a lot
it.
of work,
I've
man.
been out in the woods in the rain before, but overall,
work.
the trip was fun. Anyway, so I'm not trying to take anything away from you guys. I want to
The
make that very
camaraderie
clear.
with the people that I was with was awesome.
And that's a huge part of all this. It's a huge part of this, you know. So,
And
I'm
the
simply
fact that we're starting to attract academia is what's really warming up my heart.
Yes.
In the last year and a half, I've seen it crawling into the shows. Like, what was it? Untold Radio, Doug Hychek just had that gal on. She's a young gal that's been to college. She has the degree and she is, qualified in her field of work. And she's doing data sets. And she's young. She's starting with the BFRO information, and she's learning how to put all this together. And then I hope she does really well. But to have that, another little piece in there, real qualified academia, little bit by little bit by little bit, like
you've seen some
like
more
John
of it.
Nagel said, pretty soon it should start tipping the scales.
You've got actual biologists out there chasing right now, and I can name off 3 or 4 of them just off the top of my head. You have a newer microbiologist out west that got into the fray because they had an encounter. They had something happen to them. I don't know what. But those people are out there, and I can tell you for a fact that there's journalists out there searching into this. But the problem they find also is the same problem academia has, is, you know, the peer review process and what's it going to do down the road if I come out and I say all this? What's that going to do to their career?
Yeah, well, and that could be a complicated subject, because we already have scientists that they're way more TV personalities than they are scientists, you know. like Neil deGrasse Tyson is way more of a personality than he is a scientist, right? He's really not an important scientist, but he's become this TV star. So, if it's
the problem of it is, you still have
problem is if you have that path, you know, like, that's tempting. I can make millions of dollars being a personality or content creator. Rather than,
I mean, it also depends upon too where you want to, you know, rest that bar. Do you want, you know, the citizen scientist has been through a wildlife naturalist program, all right, or do you want a bachelor's of science in biology? You want somebody who, because I know I can name off 2 that are accredited master degrees in biology that are out there looking, and they are on YouTube. One of them has a PhD that I'm aware of. You know, where does that bar do you want to stop? With Meldrum, and so does Snow Walker Prime.
Right. But
and just because there's scientific academia doesn't mean that they couldn't get swept away, because they are human beings.
Mhm.
are not bulletproof. They decided to go to college. They got the education.
Yeah,
They're either
right.
top of their class, mid, or at
They're
the
people.
lower, somewhere in between. They're people.
They're people.
They can get
Yeah.
swept up in emotions and
Yeah.
go astray just as well as
I mean,
anybody else.
I'll say this: I don't care who it is. Like I want the scientific rigor on the back end.
Yeah, at least they got the education,
I mean,
and they're getting involved.
yeah, like
And
it's
keeping
in the rough.
keep in mind that when you're collecting this material out there in the woods on a scientific basis, it's not an easy thing. That guy right there next to my icon, he spent 2 hours just lifting a print off my truck. One print, or was it 2 prints? I can't even remember.
Yeah,
but the amount of detail and time that he took and put it on camera and just collecting that one print, that's a lot of time. Not,
it is, but it can be done.
you go out there and collecting hair, and even if you do find something, if you find something great, there's no quick reactionary academia force that's going to show up on a C-130, jump out the back and land on the area where you're standing in to help you find something.
Special Forces Scientific Academia. Here we come. Parachutes and all.
I'll put it to you this. Look, here's something you have to keep in mind with the technology available today and the professionalism, scientific professionalism of today is that if the Patty event had happened, let's just say we had today's technology back then, or if it happened now, the entire Patty event with today's technology would certifiably prove Bigfoot real. You put 5 fucking professionals out there to collect.
I'm going to tell
you just walked yourself right into that one. Hold on here.
I mean, that's another one I would debate with, because by far most of your cameras are like 3 or 4 megapixel cameras, and they use the process of interpolation, which is an AI based program, to take it up to whatever level that you want.
Okay. I know you'll watch this later. I'm not trying to be a bastard, but when you said that, I was thinking to myself, okay, and that's because they're going to take all that talent and put their boots on and walk the F out there to where that thing came through to get the biological evidence because they have the talent. That's kind of always my thought in the back of my head when our lovely Pat starts to drill me about boots on the ground. I know. I think the world of Pat. I know a lot of people rubs a lot of people the wrong way. He has me plenty of times, but I understand what he's saying.
I get what he's saying too.
I do.
But if you ask, I believe I've said this before to Nikki, I don't think the technology that we have right now is actually up to snuff.
Maybe not. Sure hasn't proven Sasquatch real. That's for damn sure.
No, I don't think, if you're talking about getting a true 25 megapixel camera as opposed to an upscaled phone camera, you're going to pay. If you're talking about getting a gradient thermal camera that's got a huge 600 sensor in it, you're going to pay.
Yeah.
Most Bigfooters are out there. Most Bigfooters that are out there are basically out there with a GoPro 8. And if they're lucky, maybe some freaking dehydrated milk that they can pour into a bag of trail mix and call that breakfast.
Hey, I got the 11. Does that make me better?
Yeah, those are good. Yeah.
I mean,
stabilizing, real good stabilization in those.
I got 11.
I've seen you and Brent consume mass amounts of Chex Mix.
That's what we lived on out there.
Yeah, Nutty Buddies and Chex Mix.
The problem is with the GoPros is that when you get to right now, their light intake is terrible. And you get into a dark forest like where we was in British Columbia and stuff like that. And it's like, damn it. I need more light.
I can't wait to watch when Legend Meets Science 2 comes out. I mean, think about early on the 8K cameras that he was using and all the experiments that they've done. I mean, I don't expect Sasquatch to be discovered, but I know that, you know, they've put together a lot of great experiments, and that just what I've heard, you know, through podcasts and stuff. And that's not to negate all the other great individuals and groups out there. I mean, look at the Olympic Project and in the freaking thermal trail cams that they hand make to give you, you know, thermal footage that, you know, is not associated with you being there, having it in your hand, hidden in a can. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get to see a lot of that technology.
The one thing that really wanted to point out about that trip is, like, you go and you take a look at the video is produced by me and Jonathan, and then compare it to the video that Brent took. The optics on that camera he had was amazing, and that's in 1080p. That thing was huge and heavy.
Yeah. But
I tell you what, that was amazing footage that Brent took.
Yeah.
And you know,
yeah,
my GoPro just couldn't get it. I actually am really mad at that GoPro, at both GoPros, because I had them in 1080p that trip.
Yeah. Well, that's, I mean,
camera takes better photo, better video.
You got to bring out $1,000 worth of SD cards if you're running 4K.
Well, and power, just getting power to them.
Yeah,
that was a mistake on my part. I didn't know, you know, how to set my all of that. It was just, I went through, like, I don't know how many SD cards, 3. I think I took 4, and I'm like, why am I using so much?
Oh, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. I mean, if you go out there with 1080p, right, and you're filming something and you find something that what you know, that locks your brain up, you can't zoom in on it for beans to really get a good look at it. But if you're in 4K, then you got to deal with the memory issues, the power issue, because your GoPro is only going to last a fraction of what it will on 1080p.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it'll be the first time you put it in 1080p to save on data and get a little more out of your SD card, that this golden moment for whatever animal may be. You'd be like, oh, shit.
Damn it.
I just shut 4K off this morning.
Damn it.
Damn it is right. I don't know what. It's like going fishing, man. It always used to happen to me when I was younger. I'd go into the pond or bring 3 dozen night crawlers and the fish wouldn't bite. And then one morning I'd be like, oh, the hell with it. Let me just grab, I got a half dozen crawlers. I'll run into the pond, go do some brook trout fishing. I'll be out of worms in 15 minutes and they're hitting like crazy. What's that, Nikki?
Oh, it's not going to come out. My last little adventure out there.
That's pretty cool, whatever's happening to it, though. It's
I
like
don't know if it's too...
your green screen is taking effect to the camera.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, looks cool.
That's what it is. You got it.
Yeah,
I think some stuff, I really wish I would have gotten in 4K. That trip to the Jocko site, I wish I had that in 4K. So that, just because that place was so incredible to be in, and scary.
Yeah, Nikki got scared with that train went by, eh? You didn't like that? Right on.
Yeah, that was a bad memory. But I mean, it was still cool. I was so glad that I got to go out there, you know, and there in that site.
I love watching those videos.
You know, you hear about, oh, it's this far in, it's this, that, and it's far. It was far to go in there on active track. So it was scary.
I think my favorite phrase of that whole trip was like, okay, this is a bridge, so we've all got to get across of it before a train comes. And I'm like, no kidding. No kidding. All I could think of was, what movie was that? Stand By Me, where they're running down the tracks?
Courageous.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm like, well, you got nowhere to. If it comes, get up against that side over there as best as you can. And I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, Thomas said that, right? Don't go on that side. Go up that side. Get up as tight as you can.
Or you hear him the one time he says, we can talk, but we need to move and talk. We need to keep moving.
A sense of urgency here.
Yes. Well, you know, I don't think I played it, but when we came back, I had Thomas mic'd, and I had the other one, and those microphones would work way off. And so when we're coming back, you know, I'm in the back watching. I'm like, okay, if you know, if a train comes, I'm going to be the early warning system. So everybody get off the tracks. But when I went through the audio, you know what happened when we came back? There was some people around the car. I caught Thomas telling story, and like in mid-story, he goes, "Huh? What's that? Oh no!" He takes off and he gets out of range.
Yeah, it was. You know, I had my purse in the car, and we had a lot of stuff in his vehicle. So if those guys were getting ready to break in, we got there in the nick of time, man. My passport was there.
That's right. Somebody was trying to break into Thomas's truck.
That's what I thought. They were just getting ready until we.
Yeah.
You just see Brent and Thomas just focus, you know.
Oh my good Lord. It's amazing.
I'm way in the back going, what's going on up there?
Yeah, well, you and Mike, you know, stayed back for me because I didn't know if I was going to make it off those damn tracks. I was heat stroked out. It was horrible coming back out of there because it was just a hot day. It was a hot day to be doing that.
It was beautiful out there, but it was hot.
Yeah, you would never picture it, you know, but it was a little much.
You know, I'm getting down on battery. I'm almost at 15%. So
yeah, we're gonna bring this to an end. We went over 23 minutes because I guess Squatch DTV was not on tonight, so
taking a break tonight.
Probably. But hey, gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping in and having a chit chat with me. I appreciate it very much.
Anytime. It's been
see you, Jonathan. And
always good to see you. Yes, good to see you too, Bill.
Here, hang on.
What? Oops.
Oh, wait a minute. I guess I got the wrong camera. It doesn't matter.
You're still in the dark.
Always am.
Oh gosh. But oops, that's not what I wanted to do. That's it. All right, everybody. So you know the drill. Be sure to hit that like button before you leave. Share it around. What a wild and squatchy night we had. Thank y'all for being part of this open chat and letting me ask the question, can we talk? Turns out, yeah, we can. And we should. Because the Bigfoot world only gets better when we keep each other honest, curious, and connected. So with that, I'm going to release you all. Have a good night, everybody. See you in the next chat.